Hey everyone, so the next part of the sounds that we're going to add is kind of depending on how far along you guys are on your lesson. So these sounds are going to be the following. It's going to be the button info sound, the button story sound, the select button sound, and the character select button sound. Those are going to be the main ones that we're going to be doing. So to start off with, I'm going to start with the ones that you guys are most likely to have, and the ones that you guys least likely to have will be towards the end. So to start off with our sound, we're going to go ahead and focus first on our character select. So when we use the start game here, we actually have a button that when you click, we want to go ahead and add a quick little sound to it. So above the broadcast, we're going to go ahead and add a start sound, and then right after, we're going to add a set volume. The reason why we're doing it this way is because, like I said, you're only going to be clicking the button once, so you're not worrying about having the sound repeating over and over and over again. So because of that, we can just simply add in the sound where we want it. After you're done, you can click on the sound tab, click on choose a sound. Again, going to effects is better. The shorter the sound, the better, just because it is just a button, so it shouldn't last too long. Once you pick the sound that you want to go ahead and use, and even then, I feel like this one is a little bit long. So if you find a sound that you want to have, you can always just select the parts that you don't need from that sound, delete it. And I can even add a fade in and a fade out. And you see how I just made my coin sound into a completely different sound. And now I can use that sound for my select button. So I'm going to go ahead and swap this out. And here I have my sound. I'm just going to go ahead and change this to 50 for right now. Okay. And then once you guys are done, the next sound that you guys want to go ahead and use is going to be for the character select arrow. So this is the arrow that you guys are clicking through in order to select your character. So for this one is going to be the same thing. So for this block of code right here, we're going to add a set sound, and then we're going to add a start sound. Maybe for this sound in particular, I'll make this one just a little bit lower. So I'll make this one a 20 instead of a 50. Since I am going to be clicking it a couple of times, instead of worrying about doing every other sound, because we want to make sure that the player understands every time they click on it, there will be a sound, and it lets them know that they've changed to the character outfit. Instead of worrying about doing every other sound, if we just make it a little bit lower, then it's just a little bit less annoying. It's just a quick, easy sound that kind of passes through. And again, it's not going to take that long because it doesn't take too long for a player to select a character. So we're just going to go ahead and leave it like this. And again, you guys can go ahead and swap out the sound as well. The next sound that we're going to go ahead and do is going to be for the story and info button that we have. So we're going to go ahead and go into the info button. We're going to find this when this sprite is clicked, because that's when our action is happening for our button. So that's when we know that the player has actually clicked on it, that we want the sound. Above the broadcast info, again, we're adding a set, and we're going to make the set volume to 50 and add a start sound. For this one, again, you're only going to be clicking the button once, so you don't have to worry about making this sound a little bit too low. We did it for the arrow because you're constantly going to click it until you find a character that you want. So we wanted to make this sound a little bit less annoying. But because this is just a simple button that someone's just going to click once, we don't have to worry about that. So we're going to go ahead and, again, go into the sound tab, pick the sound that you guys want, swap it out, and you guys kind of know the other steps. The last one is going to be for our story button. Once you're done doing this, you guys are going to go clicking on the sprite. You guys are going to go ahead and come into this when the sprite is clicked. We're going to, again, add a set volume. We're going to change it to 50. And then we're going to add a start sound underneath. Find a sound that we want to use, and then use it. Now, you guys can always use the same sounds for the buttons, so if you don't want to have different sounds for every single button, if you find one sound that you like, you can go ahead and just use that sound for every single one of them, and that is perfectly fine. You don't need a different sound for every single button that you're using. The next thing that you guys want to do once you guys are done adding all of the sounds for your game is you guys want to go ahead and play it. And it's not just playing the game just to play the game. you're playing to hear everything. You want to make sure that you're able to hear how your game is sounding as you're playing it. Is the background sound so loud that I can't hear when the enemy is dying? If it is, then I need to lower that volume. If my start sound, when I click on it, is just way too loud, then I know I have to go back and lower that volume for that. So you guys are testing everything out, clicking. It's always good to do it multiple times until you're happy. And then once this is called essentially balancing sounds. And the only tip that you guys have to worry about is, again, your background sounds should be a little bit lower and all your sound effects should be a little bit higher. So this doesn't mean to make the sound effects all the way up and then the background all the way down, because that's also very annoying. It's really just making sure that I'm able to hear the sound effects and I have a nice background sound playing behind me. That's really all that matters. Once you guys are done balancing your sounds, you guys can move on to the next step.